wanna say they honestly.
And the days go by like a strand in the wind. In the web that is my own, I begin again. I said to my friend, nothing else matters.
Just like the wide-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just like the wide-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh. And the days go by like a strand in the wind, in the web that is my own. I begin again. Said to my friend, baby, nothing else mattered. He was no more than a baby then. When he seemed broken hearted, something within him. But the moment that I first lay, all alone on the edge of 17. Just like the wide-winged dove sings the songs as she sings. Ooh, baby, ooh. Just like the wide-winged dove sings the song, sounds like she's singing. Said ooh, baby, ooh. Said ooh. Well, I went today, maybe I will go again tomorrow. Yeah, well, the music there, well, it was hauntingly familiar. When I see you doing what I try to do for you, well, there was some poetry, voice on fire and melody, and nothing else mattered. Just like the wide-winged dove, just sings the songs as I she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, said ooh. Just like the wide-winged dove sings the songs as I she's singing. Said ooh, baby, ooh, said ooh. The clouds never expect you when it rains, but the sea changes color, but the sea does not change. So with the slow, graceful flow of age, I went forth with an angel desire to please on the edge of 17. Just like the wide-winged dove sings the song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh. Just like the wide-winged dove baby, ooh, said ooh. But then suddenly, there was no one left standing in the hall. Yeah, when it flood of tears that no one really ever heard for at all. When I went searching for an answer, I was standing down the hall, and not to find an answer, just to hear the call of a night bird singing, come away, come away, come away, just like the wide wind does. Sings the songs as I just sing it. Ooh, baby, ooh, said ooh, just like the wide wind does. Sing the songs as I just sing it. Ooh, baby, ooh, said ooh. Well, I hear you. My love, I'm a few years older than you. I'm a few years older than you. Just like the wide wind does, sing songs as I just sing it. Said ooh, just like the wide wind does, sing songs as I just sing
And the days go by like a
Hi, everyone, and good evening. For those of you that are new, my name is Tor. I am the host of the Tori Seth Show. Today is 26/1/26, kind of palindromic, maybe. In a way, it's a nice palindrome. Though, there's a lot we need to talk about, and I don't know where to actually start. I'm kind of, I don't want to say taken back, but I'm kind of in shock and awe that I'm not feeling excited about it. And I'll explain. I always say, hate me now, love me later, right? And well, in life, every expose requires a villain. And I see the costume they're trying to dress me in. Discredit the messenger, muddy the room, hope the facts forget themselves. That's usually how it works. Let's just try what is going on? Not yet. Oh, gosh darn it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted because things are just popping up on my screen because of the weather. I'm getting alerts constantly. So, they're trying to discredit messengers, muddy the room, and hopefully everyone will forget what facts are. It's a very cute strategy. It's a shame facts don't have feelings, right? And they sit where they're stored, on servers, on FBI servers, in records, in history that doesn't ask permission to exist. Now, I'm front and center in this whole signal thing, not because I've inserted myself, right? Because I didn't flinch on that. You know what? Let me stop for a second. Let me play you a video. This will be a little bit better for me to explain these things, and then I'll come back to it.
Welcome to our freak show. Come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of strangest things. My patience running thinner. actions nature took to try to make the man in white. No, I don't mind. You are a beauty, not temptation. You're my creation. Time finding the cure when there's no disease. You're wasting all. Every talent on the naughty is a seas of freak. Our freak show, come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of stranger things.
So where was I? Now that was extremely enjoyable to watch because, I like the way that, a person that dedicates their whole identity to hating me, and I could see why. They can never be who I am. Tags people that I share the intelligence with. And I'm going to explain to you what is happening. Honeypots, a lot of people think are just sexual. That you get into proximity with someone to obtain intelligence, or you put yourself out there to attract certain things. Like, when we were trying to figure out where all this money was going that was being given to Ukraine, we created like a static website that looked dynamic. So that way we can trace to see where these Bitcoin wallets were being sent and done. That was a honeypot. So what's interesting is a lot of these people are opining that I'm a grifter, but they can't change the facts. And the facts are the FBI has been receiving this information. People in the highest areas within our government actually have access to all this information. It was actually quite funny to see Millie Weaver who is nothing without people like me and Nathaniel, feeding her information, to then present as her own. And seeing people opine like Joe Altman saying, yeah, she thought I took the Guatemala story. He kind of forgets that I put him in contact with the CIA station chief there. He kind of forgets that he went after I went and started to break what we did. But, I can sit here and people could say I want credit. If it was about credit, I would have been like Cam Higby. Truth doesn't have to ask for attention. It only attracts people that are ready to see the truth. And those are facts. And it's so incredible to watch them all have a meltdown, because I did warn about it yesterday. So funny. I said, like, FBI, why are you doing this? Why are you letting this happen? Because, a lot of people are going to be embarrassed. And so, I even went out and did a video right after I took a shower to kind of like, hey, you guys can still save face. Like, stop acting like this is actual intel that you're sharing. But no one understood that. And it's elevating me even more because, in the end, they're just going to be eating a lot of crow. And I feel sorry for the people. I don't really care about the influence operators and those that, think that they're actually intelligent. I always say hate me now, love me later, right? And I can live with the hate me now part. I can totally live with it, because every expose, every operation needs a villain, right? You need a central point. And, as I said earlier, they're trying to paint a costume on me and dress me up in it and discredit the actual person that did the work. I posted those signal chats a couple weeks ago on X, warning that they were taking pictures of the vehicle. It was one thing when they're sharing the license plates that unfortunately are distributed on networks. But as I said in these chats, the ones that they're showing are honeypots. Okay, those are a distraction. But in the other actual ones where there are federal agents, people that work with DHS that are partaking in this usurpation and overthrow of this government, are the ones distributing all this. And that's the problem. People are not understanding how this works. They want arrests. They're hounding down Harmeet why Don Lemon isn't arrested, for example. No, he's not going to, not yet. We're going to do it the right way. First, we're going to expose the judge that's reluctant, but they're on our call. And I'm going to say that because if you guys remember Jussie Smollett, that whole hoax was orchestrated by Don Lemon. So if we're going to get him, we're going to get him for everything, not just to appease the masses. So the question here for me is, if this information about the signal chats, which I've been posting for a very long time, I even had shared links for you guys to join my audience, because we need numbers. We want people to join in. We need self-governance. We need to be able to see things, right? I've been posting it. Then the why now. And the why now is what I'm very upset about, because I'm starting to see that this operation, because this is what it is, an operation, can be indeed to heed warning to those with the funding. And all they could get their hands on was this. I mean, this is an operation and people's integrity is being sacrificed right now. Posturing these things is real. I mean, when I was seeing that they were like, Flanagan is in there, and I was like, no, she's not. I know which chat her staffers are in, right? Because those are the chats where we have their fucking IDs to know that it's them, she's not in that group. And it just made no sense watching the reporting that was happening. And unfortunately, it was people that have built credibility with the public that were reinforcing it even more. And so I find it quite interesting that I'm the grifter, yet every single person that monetizes and panders to sponsors uses my information, just like Millie Weaver did until she was cut off. So I don't like it when people try to paint. Now, I don't know which chat of all of them they were showing where it's Terpsichore. I have so many profiles on Signal, burnt profiles, steady profiles, profiles where I gauge the room to see who, what, when, where. So it was quite funny. I don't know if that's one of my profiles, but it was quite fascinating to just watch them actually prove what I've been saying, that we are in the upper echelons. And just for clarity, some reporters that were tagged in it actually have seen it in person, the identifications that we have of these people and the work that we're doing. So the people that are opining in a negative way are completely out of the loop. I just want you, I saw some people that consider themselves at the forefront of decoding and giving news, and they're all losers because they're out of the loop, because they wouldn't say that if they knew. I was kind of surprised by Joe, but maybe he's hitting the sauce again, so I'm going to leave it alone. But what's fantastic is, I saw Brian Cates chime in, about the Hunter Biden laptop. They were so mad because I made more headway in that. I exposed more things in that than any of them did. And the reason is, now I'm actually front and center in this quietly, and I don't flinch. That's basically the offense, I guess. I don't stay quiet. I don't make myself useful to the wrong people. I don't outsource my spine. So if I'm being cast as a villain by opportunists and operators, well, that's the cost of telling the truth. I'll sign the receipt without hesitation, bitches, because this isn't a mic drop. There's no stage here. This is documentation. I mean, the love me later part always arrives, not because people suddenly grow noble, but because time does, in fact, do its own fact checking. Painters, writers, troublemakers, always unbearable in the moment, always indispensable in retrospect. And history has a long memory and a soft spot for the inconvenient. So I'm not in a hurry, because truth ages well, and I intend to be around long enough to watch it ripen. Now, I find it quite fascinating, all of these things that have been put in regards to these signal chats. I had written an article in explaining to everyone a term called INGA. And it was something actually very important that people need to read. And I guess I'm going to put it together for you in a sense. See, going theme that I've observed is that, it's a reoccurring claim. If this was given to the FBI, nothing happened. And, I see a lot of people saying that. I saw Benny Johnson come out and Cam Higbee saying, I saved the world, and da-da-da. And it's for an unvetted chat, allow me to demonstrate, you guys, without burning my profile. Do you see this? These are all the signal chats that I'm in of subversives. All of them. I do this shit 24/7. I actually had to build an AI to be able to extract viable information because there's so many. And to be fair, I have a lot of them simply because I do have FISA warrants, which are beneficial to our government, so they can read all of that. And, I've always said this, justice comes in on a donkey, never a Ferrari. And it's unfortunate that people are not understanding that. It's so incredible. We've been doing this for 10 years almost. And, me and Nathaniel first engaged in 2019 sharing notes. And we were like, oh my God, that's you in the chat. Oh my God, that's you. So we kind of put it in there. And I've been talking about the signal chats, for a very long time. And I guess maybe they were hungry and they needed something for clickbait, or they were told this is how you put it out. But regardless, right? I want you to understand this. The belief that, the FBI is getting this and nothing happened, right? It rests on the misunderstanding of how investigations into networked activity actually work, right? For example, I was reporting in 2019, well before COVID, about fraud. And when COVID came, I amplified it even more because things didn't exist in a vacuum, and neither did my reporting that continued through COVID and after. Federal investigations are not event-based reactions. Okay. It's not like social media where it's unless someone's dead, you can say whatever you want. there's going to be a proper investigation to find out the source of the activity. And this is where people are pedestrian in their thought process. Like even watching, like I was shocked to see James O'Keefe like pop off. Oh, he should get Journalist of the Year. For what? He didn't do anything. Okay? He didn't do anything. I could send you links to join all these unvetted chats, right? The admins are the ones that just delete people and monitor. For me, it's just archiving IPs and phone numbers that people forget to hide, right? So, and then I also see what groups we have in common so I can see if they're a stacked profile and if they're a legitimate person. This is the way I work. This is the way we work. So it's pretty incredible to just watch people lose. Like some people that I actually considered credible lost full credibility with me over this. It was the most insane thing I'd ever seen. I even saw people saying, yeah, she had that. Well, why didn't you? I did. But see, I don't cry for attention. And obviously no one's going to sponsor me except for the people, because that's who I work for. I'm not a mouthpiece. I don't have someone's hand up my butt, and I rely on the people to be able to conduct these operations, to do all these things. And I'm trying, and I'm okay being chum in the water to show it to you, which I'll play that video again so you could just watch and see what they have said, right? It's very embarrassing. I mean, my fan, I mean, I should hire them as fucking PR, man. And you know what? If you like what I do, please, subscribe to me, donate. I don't have sponsors. And that's what pisses them off even more. That I don't have to rely on a network to be able to survive. They do. I don't. Because truth doesn't need a network. It simply is. Now, for you guys to understand how Kash Patel is handling this, right? Because he confirmed to Benny Jansen, yeah, we're, investigating the signal chats. I mean, I can't believe that people called it Signalgate. It is so pedestrian. I'll explain that later, because it just goes to show just how remedial people are and how they condition the people to be dumb too, right? Now, again, all federal investigations, right, are not event-based. It's not like, oh, look, they did this and bah, let's go. They're a longitudinal process, right? You don't shut something down simply because you've identified it. You watch it. You trace it. You follow who funds it, who trains it, who legitimizes it, and who benefits from its persistence. Because if you act too early, it protects the very structures that you're seeking to dismantle. And this is where I go to my first point. Why did they expose the signal chats now when we hadn't exposed them for the reason of waiting to make sure we get everything and not dismantle the infrastructure without getting to the source point? We're getting the funders. I've said this before. I've said this a million times. We can't, there's so many Zoom calls that I want to make public that I can't, because I'm showing, senior executive service members. I have active duty military on these things. We have scholars. We have people that are active right now working for State Department, NSA, CIA, and we have them all, and I'll tell you why, in effect, I'm actually really pleased that people are seeing the vile exchange of information, but that's a Fetty chat, right? That's where the interns or the guy who's wet behind the ears analyst sits there and watches the chat. Okay. And then, also I've done it with Amber, with Angela, with everybody, where we sit there and we ping pong with the feds too, just to fuck it up. Because it's like, bitch, you're fucking this shit up. Like, you sound like you're asking questions, right? And, some of them actually think that we're part of the network if they're not read in. But usually on these chats, they know who the friendlies are. But sometimes they don't. And that's actually quite funny. So, as investigative journalists, independent people, right? We document, we monitor, we screenshot, we evaluate, and then we create. these neural networks that we have of these groups and how they work. Today, you were able to see a snippet of a network that suppresses information and amplifies whatever information they choose. And when the person is to be elevated, because God, I think I asked him about 2 weeks ago, please set the table. Please set the table. Because, I have my struggles. You guys know, a couple days, I'm getting stuff I have a ton of cases up in the air. I have a ton of shit that I do. No one funds me. It comes out of whatever I have in my pocket. So I'm like, please set the table, do something, like make the needle move. I put it out there and he's listening. And my table is being set by the people that supposedly hate me. And they don't hate me. They just can never be me. So get this. INGA, the article that I wrote, you should read it. It's on X. It stands for Integrated Networks Governance Architecture, right? So just so you guys understand, it's not like an organization. It's not like a single organization. And it does not have any command hierarchy. And it's not a centralized authority. It's actually a distributed system through which loosely affiliated networks like Rise Up. I'm just giving you like affinity networks, we this, we that, third act, blah, 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 momentum, this, that, horizons, you name it, right? All these affiliated networks govern themselves without formal leadership. INGA operates through plausible deniability, narrative alignment, how they all jump in. Remember, about a week and a half ago, I said, damn, I got like an emergency call from all of them. And it was really difficult to recall or all the calls across all affinity groups that happened at the same time. Some of them were sacrificed, because we have to look at the ones that actually have senior leadership in. Right? We need to see if there's any new people that are being onboarded or who a special guest is for talking, right? These are the important things that we look at. Because if I wanted to be a star, I would be putting that shit out all the time and I'd be like flooding the feed with it. But I put my country over clicks. Unfortunately, other people don't. It's about clicks first. Self-preservation, remember. So the way these networks are, they operate through plausible deniability. Their narratives are aligned, and the role is pretty much ambiguity. And authority is implied rather than declared, right? Identity is assumed rather than verified, and control is exercised indirectly through influence, repetition, and social reinforcement rather than orders. Now, that specific architecture creates like unrealistic public expectations, right? People expect instant outcomes because they've been conditioned to believe that exposure equals action, right? Oh my God, they've been exposed. Now do something. And it's like, no. Kind of, let me bring the Don Lemon, example, right? These examples are the most simplest ones. Remember Jussie Smollett? How he said, oh yeah, me and Jussie were friends and I called him and I told him go to the hospital and he called me and told me everything. And then he hooked up all these interviews and blew that shit. That was his narrative. Okay. It was the only one that called it out from the get-go that it was bullshit. Obviously, Dave Chappelle made that argument better for me of how it reeked of bullshit, but why can't we arrest him? Plausible deniability, right? Oh, they were just friends or whatever. And now you see him peeking like some fucking caricature around the church with his camera. And it's like it's two things that could have happened there. One, there's enough blackmail where it's like, we're going to throw you under the bus with this and you're going to fucking do it. Or, he's been made. There's always different avenues of how these things work. So, hold on a second. Give me a second. I'm sorry. The snow's like going crazy and I'm trying to make sure that things aren't going to buffer out. Because they seem like they do buffer out. Hold on. Okay. All right. So that's basically how it is. People have these expectations, to expect instant outcomes because, oh my God, it's been exposed. So let's do something. But in reality, exposure without context is often counterproductive. In places like Minnesota, signal chats, right, where we see it, information has been received, right? But receipt doesn't equal resolution, right? And these receipts, they've been collecting for a very long time. No one exposed it. Like, it was always there. Um, you know, I don't seem to kind of understand, why people think that things just get wrapped up like this, or, oh, well, then why didn't you do? Because that's not how it's done. See, channels like that don't have endpoints, right? And they're not endpoints like one signal chat, one county chat, all these names, which are all fucking fake anyway. I could show you like how many times they changed their usernames, because that's like something that they've trained people on. So let's burn one. Let's see, which one should we go to? Should we go to where's it? So let me see if I can show you this. Let me see. Let me find one where there's a lot of changed names and stuff. Give me a second. You know what? I could show this one. This is the one where they were smuggling people. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to show you guys just how much this is changing, telling me that they changed their safety number with me. Anytime I haven't looked at this group because it's over in San Francisco and they've been kind of dead after the arrests that happened there. But look at this. It's still updating. This is part of the San Francisco group. So it's still going, that the safety numbers have changed, with all of them. So that also I record and I and I put it in an output through an AI to be able to track the usernames that they're using. And then sometimes they swap usernames, so then I can see that they're in the same group. So that's basically how we operate. We watch all of them. We don't engage unless it's necessary. I am the admin in a lot of them, and I create the waiting rooms, and then I ask them questions to see if they're just like some they them that's like confused. And sometimes I'll not let people join because I feel sorry for them, because they're like crazy and they could get arrested, because most of these people that are in there organizing will get arrested. So it's a big deal. The chats that they were showing you were unvetted, which means anybody with the link from Blue Sky, that's where they got it from, by the way, because we've been dropping stuff like that just to be able to cause a little bit of chaos, because sometimes when you put the pressure on, you can see a little bit of a shift, right? But they've already had that discussion a couple months ago that they're going to sacrifice the Sunrise Movement brand and let them be visible, so people focus on that and not on the core of operations. So going back to this whole thing about the FBI not doing enough, you have to understand, like, all these channels of communication of groups are not, like I said, endpoints, right? They're data. And you're not going to shut something down without understanding the underlying governance structure, because that would only displace activity, and it would obscure any funding paths. So that's number one. So the fact that it's out in the open now could be two things. One, it was kind of promoted through the ranks, but I find it really difficult to believe that the FBI would be like, yeah, Cam Higby, go. I mean, they could, because I know some of the networks overlap with some of the people at the FBI, and they could sacrifice their persona. I would be the last person to be put front and center because I'm actually doing the work. That could be it. Or it could be that these people that are exposing these are working against us and pressuring the FBI to do something like, I don't know, invoke the Insurrection Act because it's so bad, which we talked about as to why we don't want that to happen. So I see it with both. That's why I said, if I find out that any one of our people or our side is actually helping these fuckers, your ass is mine. Okay? Because I've allowed you to talk shit on me a lot and have said nothing because I am the bigger person. Now what's being framed as a dramatic gate is also a mischaracterization, right? There's no fucking central gate to breach. The reason you say Watergate is because you have one central authority. The reason you say Obamagate is because Obama is a central authority. There is no fucking signal gate. It's a mischaracterization. Anyone that works in intelligence will tell you that. This is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen. What exists right now, instead, is fake intel circulating inside INGA. And it's amplified by actual people who mistake visibility for impact. The core problem here isn't secrecy, it's distortion. Real reporting rarely reaches the public intact because it doesn't travel well inside the narrative economy, okay? It lacks spectacle, it lacks heroes, so it gets repackaged by actors with distribution networks, stripped of provenance, and reframed as discovery. Oh, I discovered this. No, you fucking didn't. But that's how INGA, which is, like I said, integrated networks governance architecture, sustains itself. This also should be able, like I'm demonstrating to you, explains the behavior inside the signal chats themselves. Participants, confidently attributed identities to supposed government officials using their real names, while conspicuously omitting others that would be unavoidable if the claims were genuine, right? It's like when they were saying that the lieutenant governor was there, I mean, she shut down her Facebook because they were trolling her. And it's like, do you really think she'd go in there as lieutenant governor? I mean, you guys joined me in when we hijacked one of their, chats where we literally sat there and gave ourselves really fucked up names and were in there. Anybody can do whatever they want. And I'm sorry, but the lieutenant governor is not in there with her name. I can tell you that most of the people that are in the signal chats, even the ones where they're all like federal officials, like NASA Goddard, for example, that was one call that was very interesting. A lot of them didn't really have their real names. Some idiots did that felt secure because everyone showed their ID to us, right? But on the other hand, they're not using their identity. So they blew this up and it went viral on social media. And it was nothing. It was literally nothing. And it wasn't intelligence. It was people reposting things. And guess what? In that video that I played, which I'll play again, there was someone with McBodie face. That was part of Patrick Berge, who is a well-known psychological operations expert. Crew. Like, I would spot them in there and watch them, and not that specific, like a lot of chats, they're in there. And the thing is, I've already gotten your IMEI, bitches. I know what burner phone app you use from your first go. I can fucking find you. So I am telling you that the interactions that you're seeing there aren't even real, genuine interactions. They're all bullshit. And a lot of them are just entry points because in the beginning, when we create these rooms on signal chats, in these groups, a link is distributed and then it's gone. So then everybody else comes in hoping to be picked up because that's where they wait for an admin to snag them and say, I found you. Let me send you the link now privately. Now you're going to go into that link. We're going to vet you, get your ID. Let me see who you are, and then we'll move you over. That's the way they operate. So what you're watching right now is a complete shit show of open source information that really doesn't have all the information. But again, it was shocking to see people confidently attributing identities. I mean, at this point, we're going to have to manufacture that, or else everybody loses credibility. I mean, they're going to make Kash Patel look like an idiot. And I don't like that because he's been working extremely, extremely hard for our country. The FBI has been working overtime. And when you have social media influencers like, oh, Benny Johnson said he's investigating the chats. Yeah, he fucking is. He's been doing that. Okay? Been doing that. And so now everyone's put the pressure on for him to do what? Arrest someone? oh, Tim Walz called President Trump. Yeah, he fucking did, because he's like, yo, all your bots are in here and they're making this an even bigger shit show. Like I said from the beginning, why the fuck are all these influencers in Minnesota? Why are they instigating? Oh, look, I got beat up. Then don't fucking go. Let the law enforcement do their job. It would have been done and dusted and over if your stupid ass didn't go in there and start instigating. This is the problem. That people are not realizing. Your ass should not be in there, right? You just want to get clicks and you're in there. And because you can't get the clicks you want, you're instigating. Oh, I'm going to burn a Quran. Or you're mocking, hey, migrant, you piece of, like, Nick Sorter is the most vile person I've ever encountered. Aside from the fact that he's like a drunk and he thinks he's God's gift to women and a fucking thief, right? Because he stole my credit card. I'm not good. Keep saying that shit. He sits there. If you see the unedited footage, he says some really vile things. Like, he says nasty things. And even to people that are actually scared. And it's the most disgusting thing I've seen. And I don't know how these evil people are being elevated. It's just like, I can't. Now, on that, I just want you to know that in this instance, on urgency, credit declarations like that I saw going around, right? By like Cam was like, I expose this. It further reveals the motive, all right? The motive. People engaged in legitimate public education that have engaged it, I guess, do not center themselves, right? They don't inflate their role or dramatize proximity, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. The performance of heroism is a fucking tell. It suggests attention seeking or visibility building, and it's not disciplined disclosure, right? That performance becomes part of INGA itself, adding noise, not clarity. It's another layer of these networks. And this is the invisible adversary that I've been telling you guys, and I've been trying to explain for years. It's not a single chat, a single person, a single scandal, a single NGO, but it's the architecture that turns narrative into governance and noise into cover. And as long as people are trained to follow spectacle instead of structure, to chase stars instead of systems, they'll remain trapped in the same cycles, mistaking movement for progress. And the work that matters is quieter than that. It always has been. Now, I have to say that, there's also a misunderstanding embedded in the criticism that needs a little bit correcting. In systems, in these integrated networks of government architecture, noise is an accelerant. Now, when people double down on a weak performative intel break and treat it as decisive, it creates pressure inside the network, right? The actors within these networks begin to reposition, fragment, and self-isolate. They scurry, right? They run and they scatter. And in doing so, they expose seams that are otherwise invisible. Many times you've caught me saying, I like to kick the hornet's nest sometimes to see what comes out. And I usually like to pick on people to throw that gas on the fire that are mentally unstable, like, that I know can't help themselves. They can't help but hate me, right? And I could bring it. But what I'm seeing, though, and it's being observable now across multiple states, after this, fake expose, because it's really not an expose. These are unvetted chats. There's no real intelligence in there. Is not chaos, but redistribution. So as the attention is concentrating on the loudest narratives, right, quieter structural shifts occur elsewhere. There are centralized federal pathways that are becoming easier to see. The onboarding behavior in these groups is now changing. People are now starting to advocate internally for better vetting, tighter access, more professional standards. That moment is critical, and it's benefiting us because governance pressure always reveals itself through the process of changes that it goes through. So when individuals start demanding more verification, they're no longer operating comfortably inside plausible deniability. And this is where INGA gets stripped, and then we can have a gate. Get it? Because that's where INGA starts to collapse inward. Identity becomes unavoidable. Either participants retreat into physical in-person coordination, which introduces the risk of traceability, or they comply with verification demands. And proper identification locks them into a position they can't easily exit. Once identity is actually formalized, deniability erodes. So either path constrains their movement, and there's no clean win. And this is why the current fixation and on this spectacle, paradoxically, is actually kind of useful. The people chasing visibility believe they're driving the moment, but they're functioning as a distraction layer, which is helping us because attention is finite, 5 minutes fame, as they say. While energy is burned amplifying noise in one direction, quieter mapping continues elsewhere, even within the networks themselves. And you can see the awareness emerging, like a recognition that attention can be steered, that pressure can be redirected, and that while eyes are focused over there, work is happening over there, right? And that dynamic isn't accidental. It's how distributed systems fail safely, by allowing performance to absorb scrutiny while structure is tested and constrained. And INGA relies on ambiguity to survive, but it also reacts very poorly to stress. And the more it's forced to formalize through vetting, documentation, and governance, the less flexible it becomes. So the mistake is assuming that visibility equals loss of control. In reality, for them, for us, I guess, more so, unmanaged noise often forces systems into decisions they'd prefer to postpone. And once those decisions involved identity, funding pathways, or physical coordination, the architecture tightens up around itself. And that's not chaos, that's pressure doing its work. So, going back to Cash, when Cash said that the signal chats were being investigated, that wasn't a contradiction of reality or an exaggeration. FBI didn't suddenly discover these spaces. They've been aware of them for years, in large part because information has been flowing to them consistently and methodically over a long period of time. And awareness precedes action. It always does. What looks to the public like sudden attention is usually the first visible moment of a much longer process. When I saw how this moved, and I mapped like who's the first influencer, who did that, who went there, like actually mapped it out, I was taken back because I was like, this isn't going to benefit the FBI. If anyone pitched us to the FBI that it would benefit them if they'd expose it like this, it's not. Maybe they're using the strategy of creating more pressure so that me and my team can get more identification on non-governmental personnel. Who knows? Because I'm going to show you that while you're looking at Minneapolis, the really big players are already organizing on how to overthrow governments. In fact, Steve Colbert is part of it, and I'll get to that in a bit. So, and I'll show you the video actually, so you can see it yourself. So, what's fascinating right now is how fixation has settled on the least reliable layers of these networks, right? The loudest attention is being paid to unvetted chats that by design are saturated with noise, trolls, observer, informants, known suspects, and people playing roles they assume others want to see. So those spaces are porous on purpose. They attract exactly the kinds of personalities who want visibility, chaos, or validation. So treating those channels as a center of gravity misunderstands how these ecosystems actually work because they don't know. So I don't know why anyone would get an award for exposing something. They don't understand how it works. No offense, but you're not that smart. So anyone who's actually spent real time observing these environments knows that infiltration and monitoring are not anomalies. They're constants, right? People move in and out. Some are recognized. Some are let in deliberately. Some are there to watch. Some provoke. Some to posture, right? This is why we have personas in these chats, to be able to gauge the metrics and the temperature of, the discussion that's going to have there. So so just so you understand, that doesn't invalidate what they put out, right? It's part of it. The presence of familiar figures or recognizable behavior patterns doesn't imply control or authorship. It signals overlap. These networks recycle tactics, personalities, and aesthetics because that's what loosely governed systems actually do. And the temptation to tie everything to one single focus, one single operator, one single mastermind is another symptom of narrative thinking. It simplifies a distributed reality into something emotionally satisfying, but analytically weak, that offers you pretty much zero resolution. And even when a style feels kind of familiar, like when an operation resembles something you've seen before, that doesn't mean it is that thing, right? Or that it requires the same explanation. Pattern recognition is very useful. Pattern fixation, not so much, because that's exactly what we're looking at. So what's actually happening is much more mundane and much more effective. Attention is being drawn to the noisiest surfaces while the observation continues elsewhere. The unvetted spaces absorb scrutiny. The structured spaces, respond by tightening processes, debating, vetting, and ironically making themselves easier to map. None of that requires deception by officials or sudden reversals of position, okay? It's simply how long-running investigations into decentralized networks unfold. And I've said this, the magic of these networks is that they are decentralized. They all are separate, and then they just all align on ideology and work together, and then they separate again. And this is why you can never pinpoint. It's like whack-a-mole. And I've said this over and over and over and over again. For some people don't want to grow, don't want to learn. But I find it extremely difficult to even understand the things that they were saying. I mean, we have all these ponsters and idiots. I want to watch that video again. You guys want to see it? Because it's actually pretty funny. Let's go. Let's watch this again.
Welcome to our freak show. Come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of strangest things. My patience running thinner on this melting clock. Cerebrum jail with thoughts most would consider odd. To think you're any different from an animal or creature sick as you should be put down, but I can't help myself. Welcome to our freak show. Come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of stranger things. Please don't hide your imperfections. Nature took two tries to make the man in white. No, I don't mind. You are a beauty, not temptation. You're my creation.
Freak out Friday night. Now I'm the main attraction. Basket acrobat. They wanna see some action. Tinkering with my design. Twist and tame my feral mind. Play with me till you found another toy.
Wait, can you guys just see? Wait, I just saw something. Former follower, now arch enemy. Bitch, you got to be someone important to be an arch enemy. You're like nothing. You're just crazy. And Joe really fucked up right now because the people that I introduced him to are getting a copy of this shit right now. Just saying.
Let me be your feature. I could be your favorite monster. Lock me up, don't let me out, 'cause you.
And there she goes harassing my sister again, which is fantastic because that just increases the charges against her. Oh, you think I'm joking? I did tell you that they were investigating the Medicare fraud, didn't I? Way before anyone talked about it. I did tell you that, you know, those people that came after me are probably going to be dead or arrested. Did that happen? Yes, it fucking did too. So again, let them talk. Bitches. Keep going. Let's watch more. Mr. Anti-White Hate Watch wants to punch my teeth in. Try it, bitch. Wait, we have to have Millie Weaver on the screen. Hold on. We have to have that. Look at that. Busted. The truth was, yeah, busted. We're the ones that were doing all the work, bitch, while you were taking all the credit. How about that? There you go. It's so sad to watch it. But listen, even though a lot of these are extremely funny and it's like, oh my God, I live totally rent free in these people. They hear my name and they scream because they'll never be me. I could sit here and do like, you know what? Actually, I should put some lip gloss on while I gloat. I look good, right? Thank you, Kay, for keeping my skin so amazing. I appreciate you. Thank God we have Tori said because they deleted my server before. Remember how Millie got that shit done with Ali Akbar? Wait, when our J6 the movie comes out, the real shit comes out because we're waiting for everyone to exhaust themselves. You'll see what we're talking about. But again, you know, people were talking about unapologetic Christian. You guys don't understand how assets work. You really don't. You really, really don't. And, you know, your light just irritates their demons. But I want you guys to just pay attention. That has been who said, well, I look good, so I can tell the news. It's like you can't articulate two sentences. Like, stop. Chimed in, which is making it a lot more fun because there's more. I wonder how many people are actually going to retract all this shit at some point. But it'll be funny. It's immortalized now. We've got it.
Welcome to our freak show. Come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of stranger things. You're wasting having time finding the cure when there's no disease. You're wasting having talent on an audience that sees a freak. Welcome to our freak show. Come meet my monsters. Oh, such a fine collection of stranger things.
So how was that? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. right? Oh, my lip gloss. Got it off of TikTok. It's called Judy Doll. And I got it in shade G02. It's kind of nice, right? It's kind of almost like my skin tone, so it looks like I have a big mouth, which I do. So, hey. So this is kind of interesting, to watch. But now the FBI has an even harder job, and it's a good thing that President Trump sent Tom in there. Kind of like, central casting is necessary sometimes just to amplify things and bring it to the table. And Tim Walz does want to talk about it because, they're finding the funding. Oh, wait till they get to Texas. I said, oh, that shit came out today. No shit. Wait till they get to Ohio. Wait till they get to New York. I mean, this is an ongoing. It's not something new, right? For us, the people, the fraud should be looked at, how everyone was labeled a COVID death. Remember, I brought that shit up in 2020, March of 2020, when they were labeling. I wrote that article in April of 2020 where the guy fell out of the sky, got eaten by a shark, and he was labeled COVID. And that's how I found the document. I was like, look, no fucking hospital is going to look crazy and say this guy was eaten by a shark and then say he died from COVID if it doesn't benefit them. That's how I discovered the document that they were getting paid $110,000 that I gave to my reporter friend that then asked those questions, and suddenly it was making rounds on Laura Ingraham. You guys can't even see the architects when they're telling you. When people tell you who they are, believe them. Okay? That's rule number one. Now, I feel actually really sad because, law enforcement has actually known about these spaces for a very long time. And so when Kash Patel says, yeah, they're being investigated, that's not a lie or a flex or a sudden revelation. They've been working on it. The FBI didn't just wake up and say, oh shit, look, an unvetted chat. Yeah, let's get on it. Right? No. Kash didn't wake up and say, oh shit, Twitter, X people uncovered the Signal chat. Information has been flowing for years, methodically, quietly. We're even using chain of custody numbers now every time they get the tip, right? This is with the chain of custody, with corroboration, with patience. Investigations don't look like Netflix documentaries in real time, okay? They look like boredom, delay, slitting your wrists, with people online screaming. Nothing's happening. I'm like, it is. You just don't see it yet because you're in the moment, right? But here's the part that really seems to upset people. And these networks don't get shut down like immediately. You watch them. I've said this. You map them. You follow the money. You trace their training pathways. You identify who launders the legitimacy and who benefits when the things get crazy. If you act too early, all you do is burn visibility and protect the money. That's not justice. That's fucking sabotage. Okay. So now we get into the irony that no one seems emotionally prepared for. The actual noise that everyone is freaking out about, it's useful, right? Noise makes people nervous. Noise makes people scattered. Noise actually reveals people's networks, like you saw in that snippet. We've got our AI scraping all these networks now and making visual maps. Noise forces behavior changes. And once behavior changes, patterns emerge, just like you saw. So across states, what's becoming visible right now is not collapse. It's redistribution. Centralized federal pathways are starting to show themselves, and people are starting to advocate internally for better vetting, right? We already had a call, and there's a call going on right now that's being recorded, where they need more structure, more vetting. And what's hilarious is that the second you demand structure inside a plausible, deniable system, you start to break the plausible deniability, which works to our benefit. So, that's where I would say INGA eats itself. So the invisible enemy is starting to, autophagy, right? So as these people are demanding vetting, the identity becomes unavoidable. So either you retreat into these in-person meetings and you get caught on camera and they follow you and they have your map location from your phone and all that shit, proper documentation, or you get online and you give me your CAP card, right? You show me your office, you give me your phone number, I verify you that you are who you say you are. I run your video through AI checks, because we do that, and boom. Once that happens, they're locked in. You can't unring that bell. You can't float anymore. And suddenly the system that they all relied on for ambiguity is forced into formality, and that's pressure, right? That's containment. That's a fucking box, and that's not accidental. So meanwhile, while the people are chasing visibility, are busy declaring, how amazing they are on these exposés, they're doing us a favor. Now, another thing, them using gate language doesn't just miss the point, it actively misleads. It implies cohesion where fragmentation is intentional. It suggests orchestration where deniability is a governed principle, right? These networks survive precisely by never allowing any single component to matter enough to be decisive. Like I said, they can sacrifice groups, chats, and people like that. So what you're observing right now is not a scandal breaking. It's a system being slowly constrained through monitoring, mapping, and the differentiation between operational layers and decoy spaces. Because I was a decoy and I said it. And that kind of work is actually incremental, procedural, and profoundly unsatisfying for people who expect a reveal. So the urge to frame this as some dramatic exposure says far more about the narrators than the actual network. It reduces a distributed governance ecosystem into a cartoon version of itself, where complexity is flattened into villains and victory moments. That flattening doesn't clarify reality. It obscures it. And precision actually matters here, not out of pedantry, right? But because sloppy language produces false expectations, and false expectations are now evident, obviously. And this is how, these integrated networks continue to evade accountability. So calling this signal gate isn't analysis, it's branding. It borrows the gravity of historic scandals without engaging the reality that this system was built specifically to prevent that kind of resolution, right? And that disappointment isn't that people are wrong, is that they're being unserious about how power actually behaves now. And that, more than anger, is more damning. As a conclusion, I mean, it's so, it's precisely how they function. But in the meantime, just so you guys know, what is this I'm watching? Yeah, I don't want to show that. I'm not going to show that. Okay, I want to take you now to show you what actually is happening. Give me a second. So while all this was happening in Minneapolis, right, a couple weeks ago, and I was waiting for this to actually go public, Steve Colbert actually introduced one of the people behind the document that everyone's like, oh my God, this is so shocking, when there's 20 million of those documents addressed to a different entity or affinity group that have been created. But the masterminds of this are two women that I've been observing. More so, as I said, in September, we went to Rome to follow them for training. Obviously, I didn't express that, but this is why we went. And again, no one sponsors it. The people do, from funding me. I'm making this clear. I don't work for the government. Ergo, the government does not require any warrants for me to be obtaining this information. So I traveled on my own with Angela. And that was because they were training with foreign entities on how to overthrow the government. And the person that suggested this meetup, I'm going to show you her right now. You saw her when we had provided that information to Millie Weaver, and she was focusing on Lisa Fithian, which is just a agitator collector. And I was like, oh my God, why isn't she focusing on the real person? That was red flag, right? Maria J. Stefan, Dr. Maria J. Stefan, former DOD, Peace Institute. And we've got Erica Chenoweth. That's basically the work they're showing. And if you notice, the UN actually has a division that discusses Erica Chenoweth's work. So while all this is happening in Minnesota, we have Stephen Colbert putting one of the founders of the ideology of overthrowing governments without civil disobedience and nonviolence on air. And let me show you this, because this is where the sauce is.
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest tonight is a scholar of nonviolent resistance who has worked with movements all around the world and is co-author of the book, Why Civil Resistance Works. Please welcome Dr. Maria J. Stefan. Doctor, thanks so much for being here. I have wanted to talk to someone, and I'm so glad it's you, about the idea of nonviolent resistance, because I knew at some point during the second term there would be a rebirth of some sort of resistance movement to the overreaches of the Trump administration. And I know that people are hungry for tools, ways to do this in ethical ways that fit with our own morals, and nonviolent resistance could definitely be one of those ways. People will resist authority.
So, again, like I told you, this is the kickoff because they knew what was coming. They sacrificed a group, right? Remember, she was in that Zoom call at the sunrise. It was with AOC that we got her on these calls. These congressmen, governors, everyone, they work together. You're not seeing those Zoom calls, right? Because we're not sharing them with you. Because I put my country over being first and getting clicks. Big difference. So this is why I say I question the pressure that was put on our FBI right now when they just open their mouth and tell us everything. Now, this is really important. Non-violent civil disobedience. Steve Colbert put her up. They met a couple weeks ago. I tried to get there to New York, didn't make it. I wanted to see if I can see who else was coming in. This is the shit I do. This is the shit, that $1 you give me fucking funds, right? I don't need a network to distribute my work. I am the fucking network. I am the underground network. How about that? This is all the sauce. This is where you have them on the record advocating to overthrow the government, but very careful with their words. They're not fucking stupid. Okay? Just listen.
Let's talk about the ways people can resist. You've spent decades studying nonviolent resistance to authoritarianism. Why is it the way to go?
Yeah. Well, Stephen, thank you for having me on the show. What a necessary time to be talking about nonviolence and nonviolent resistance. And yes, and we are seeing nonviolent resistance blossoming all across this country. And I'm especially thinking of Minneapolis right now, in Minnesota. And the profoundly courageous, tenacious, deeply loving ways that communities are organizing, protesting, protecting their neighbors, all using nonviolent resistance.
How would you define nonviolent resistance?
So nonviolent resistance is a powerful form of collective action. It's where ordinary people coordinate a range of different tactics: protests, boycotts, strikes, walkouts, mutual aid, to build power, to disrupt injustices, and to liberate themselves from oppression. So it's a way of fighting back without the threat or use of violence.
Okay, what can people do right now? Like, what's a simple tool people can use?
Well, you know, I've got in my pocket here, Stephen, a whistle. So what people are doing is they are organizing neighborhood groups. They are taking Know Your Rights trainings. They're learning how to intervene. And one of those ways is blowing a whistle to let their neighbors know that ICE is there and that they are there to stand with them and to defend them.
Can I give a little?
Yeah, check it out. Take a try.
There you go.
So let me give you some context on the interview. Would you like that, guys? Would you like it before we move forward? So, blowing the whistle. Are you paying attention to what I'm saying? So, a lot of people got in trouble for trying to blow the whistle on our Venezuela operations. Didn't they? And now we have a lot of people blowing the whistle on our Syria, Iran, Israel, Qatar, all those operations. This was telling all of them we're ready to blow the whistle. They're pulling one of their last tickets. They're telling you they're going to come in hot. And just like I said, clockwork, didn't I say a couple months ago, hey, they've been discussing how they're going to shut down the federal government again, didn't I? I did. And that's the point. They want him to pull the Insurrection Act during the shutdown. Did a whole show on that. You should go watch it. And this is why it's not the right time. And so, for all my haters, thank you for promoting me. Unfortunately, I don't have a marketing budget, so I appreciate you. But this is it. They are blowing whistles on television. And they are now going to have so many leaks through our agencies. Key is the State Department first. They're already talking and yapping. We've got a new guy that came in today from the DOD to sign on. We had a couple from ODNI. NRO, where the fuck are you? Like, I'm just standing here, like, watching this. Like, because, at the core of all of this is the NRO. And they better be working for us right now because I'm extremely upset watching, like, how are we having NSA people enter? I mean, they could be us going in, maybe, but I don't know. Spooks can't stop but spooking, right? They just can't stop doing spooky stuff. They just love it. But right now, on national television, prime time, Steve Colbert blew the whistle to signal everyone to start leaking. Start leaking. They want to create as much chaos as possible so that the president pulls a pin. He has every authority to do so. But the type of leaking that'll come out coinciding with him pulling the Insurrection Act, which they would have hoped he would have done right now, hence why this is up and running, is pretty incredible. So then you ask yourself, are these right-wing, alt media, whatever, journalists, independent, helping us or helping them with what they're doing? That's just a question.
It's not only a good warning, but it's oddly cheerful. I feel like Thomas the Tank Engine has joined the resistance. Let's talk about things like a general strike. Has America? It's a very European thing to have a general strike. Has America ever engaged in a general strike? Like, that's enough, we're not showing up to work tomorrow?
So we've never had a general strike. But I can say what's happening this Friday on January 23rd. There is an ICE out of Minnesota day of action. It's a shutdown day where people will be staying home from work. They won't be going to school. They'll be refusing to participate in economic activities. So a power, and
it didn't work. It was fucking retarded. But she taped this. I think it was either Saturday or Sunday before. So it was aired like a couple days ago. So it's on YouTube, 3 days old. But that was actually discussed in the groups that was happening, that she was going to go on there and she was going to have nationwide coverage. So
calling on Americans across the country to show solidarity.
One of the problems with Minnesota right now is you have people like Kristi Noem or the people who are heading up ICE saying that it's not nonviolent resistance. They're saying someone like Renee Good was actually a threat to those people, or that filming an ICE agent or they're saying that filming, and I should documenting, which is perfectly legal, is a form of threat, and therefore they're justified to use what they say violence in return to the threat of violence from these people.
Okay, so let me give some context. What our government is saying is correct, because in some signal chats that I'm in, they're not only identifying the ICE agents, they're identifying their families. And some of them are biologists that run that work for companies that take fingerprints for sheriff's departments and stuff like that. I flagged that already up the chain a few weeks ago. I think it was like last month, where I sent that tip and that chat link. Obviously they can't get in, but I sent them the screenshots and they have access to my phone, so they can see it probably. That's why I have so many hundreds of these chats, because I know they just get in there and watch through my name. So they were trying to see if they can grab DNA from them, because they have people that work in the local police departments or sheriff's office or these third-party companies that, do identification cross checks and backgrounds. So they're trying to get whatever they can so that they can harm their families. Now, will they harm their families? Maybe. Or are they just doing it as a scare tactic because they know they're being watched? That's another question. So you guys, you can't take it as that. It could have just been something that they're doing, but they discussed this, and that's what's important. And that idea was actually given birth in California back in the, let me tell you when, actually. It was before the 50501s came up. It was right after they started to create those channels to smuggle people outside of the country. But most of them are leave and delete chats. I'll show you this. So these are called leave and delete chats, and it clearly says this chat served its purpose. Go ahead and leave and delete. I don't delete any of these motherfuckers. So that way the evidence never goes away. Okay? Never goes away. So this one is, this was leave and delete in September after their trip. And this is from Dr. Seth, which is a high-level leader. That's why I left it there. So this is how you actually conduct investigations, not gotcha moments and put your fucking name over an unvetted chat that anybody can get into. It's almost ridiculous. It's like so childish, and it's like so remedial. And the fact that all these people like literally jumped on it was like, I tried to warn them. I even said, FBI, are you like rounding up the right wing and alt media because they're funded? Some of them have overlapping funders. But I let them get to it, and then we'll revisit. So as you see, he says, Renee Good, blah, 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 and they can take pictures. And I told you that there are chats where they're discussing how they can exchange biological materials, either that be fingerprints, hair, or coffee cups that they throw away, to then identify them through these systems, and then target their families. Because as you can see, the trolls are targeting my family. So they think it's fair game. And thank you, FBI, for everything. But the suggestion that I sent to them was to flag all DHS or federal agents that have been searched. If they get a match on anything, that they flag it and they figure it out. It's kind of like hospitals, like if I look up your patient information, right, and I'm not your assigned physician, it's going to get a red flag. So I suggested that on the NCIS system that they put flags for any active duty LEO that's participating, just in general, of who searched them if they got a hit. So if someone is sitting somewhere in Minnesota and they pulled Joey's hair, who's an ICE agent out of Texas, and it's found in some West Bubble fuck sheriff's office system where it pops up with his ID, that our law enforcement can say, hey, why the fuck were you looking at that? What did you process? Who did the process? Let's pull the cameras. Let's take a look. And we get them. So that was my suggestion that I provided last time I went to DC. I went December December when I was in DC for the monthly meeting. That's the policy that I offered. So this is why they're so paranoid, is because they know the extremes that they may go to. I mean, think of it. Just put yourself in that mindset. Right now, as you saw from the trolls on the video, they were targeting my family. Like, what does my family have to do with what I say, right? So imagine if you're so polarized that you want to kill an ICE agent or that they all should die. You're getting their DNA so you could target their family. It's still harassment, right? And a lot of these people are getting charged with harassment, cross-border, and I'm not talking about just myself, for people that are doing it to me. I'm talking about the people that are doing it to the ICE agents. And so that's really important. But hear what he says.
What do you do when what your nonviolent action is perceived of or called violence by the people who can use violence against you?
Yeah. Declaring peaceful protesters violent or domestic terrorists or outside agitators is what autocrats all around the world do. That is their playbook, is to make people fearful and to try to undermine the legitimacy of protesters. That's their game. And so what are we seeing in Minneapolis right now? What have we seen in our history in this country? Think about the civil rights movement, profound state violence used against protesters. They prepared, they trained, they role-played, they organized, all to make that political violence backfire. Think of Selma, the peaceful march. So when peaceful, disciplined protesters confronted the dogs, the hoses, the response, it revealed the cruelty when the disciplined protesters were faced with this form of violence. And so that's how disciplined nonviolent resistance can make state violence repression backfire. And they know this. They know that nonviolent resistance is something they can't handle. So they'll do anything in their power to undermine the legitimacy of these protesters, to call them domestic terrorists, to foment violence so that they can justify crackdowns. But people are not taking the bait. They are prepared, they're disciplined, they're trained. It's sticking in my head a quote from Rebecca Good, the widow of Renee Good, who said, "They show up with guns, we show up with whistles."
We have to take a quick break. We're right back with more Maria Stephan, everybody.
Whistles as in leaking. So, quick hiatus.
Trisha, this song is for you. I don't fuck with you. You little stupid ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. You little dumb ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. I got a million trillion things that I'd rather fucking do.
Alright, fuck it. That's what we're doing? Alright.
Than to be fucking with you. Little stupid ass, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck about you or anything that you do. Don't give a fuck about you or anything that you do. I heard you got a new man, I see you taking a pic. They ain't posted up thinking that it's making me sick. But I see you calling, I've been making it quick. I'ma answer that shit like I don't fuck with you. You little stupid ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. You little dumb ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. I got a million trillion things that I'd rather fucking do.
Okay. Music stops.
Than to be fucking with you.
Yep.
Little stupid ass, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck, bitch.
Stop
I
the
don't
music.
give a fuck about you or anything that you do. Don't give a fuck about
Music
you or
stop.
anything that you do.
Okay.
Who's the loser now, Trisha? Bully this bitch.
Oh my! I was unaware of the lyrics and the strong language in that song, so I do apologize. But you know what? I apologize for nothing else.
That is like iconic, right? Setting the table, miking dropping. So I absolutely love it. But I'd like to give a tribute to my PR team. Let's hit it.
If I was your girlfriend, I'd drive you up the wall. Question who you're with, yeah, I'd always call and call. I wouldn't call it jealousy, just looking out for you. Reading all your texts, watching everything you do. Nag, nag, nag on you. Ask all about your past. And Facebook stalk you too. I don't care about them, I just care about us. So say hello to a girlfriend you should trust. Trust, yeah. I'll always be checking up on you. Hey boy, who you talking to? If I was your girlfriend, I'd never let you leave without a small recording device taped under your sleeve. And you'll only look your best and shave your face for me. Don't hide secrets in your house, 'cause boy, I stole the key. So tell me if you like her, don't try to say you don't. I can see it in your eyes that you want to try and go, but that ain't the right choice, yeah, you already know. I'ma make you stay with me and be mad if you don't. Girlfriend, girlfriend, I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend. I will be your girlfriend. I'll always be checking up on you. Hey boy, who you talking to? If I was your girlfriend, I'd never let you leave without a small recording device taped under your sleeve. And you'll only look your best and shave your face for me. Don't hide secrets in your house, 'cause boy, I stole the key. I'll make wedding plans, 'cause you'll stick with me, boy. Spend a day with your girl, I'll be calling you my husband. I just made a list, all our future kids' names. Bartholomew, Clarence, Steve, and Bryce. I'll never let you leave without a small recording device taped under your sleeve. And you'll only look your best and shave your face for me. Don't hide secrets in your house, 'cause boy, I stole the key. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah boy. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah. Na na na, na na na, na na na, yeah boy. Na na na, na na na. If I was your girlfriend.
Huh. That's how I feel. A lot of my fan club looks at me when they like look at stuff, you know. It's kind of hilarious. And here's another thing. So you guys remember that Sharona chick that helped put Tina Peters in jail, right? She realized that whoever told her, oh, Tori's a nobody, wasn't so much. So for all of you getting pacified, don't worry about it. She's nothing. Like, don't worry about it. And they just go hard. It's even better. Because for those that, you know, think that they get away with shit, well, no. It's like Target. This is the best way to describe it. But in operator or stalking measures. Target might see someone. I saw this shit on TikTok and I was like, holy shit. You know, they shop. Have you guys seen those shoplifting videos? So they like shop, you know, they steal things, but they like steal like, I don't know, like an outfit one day. And then like, you know, 3 months later, they steal like a blender. And then, you know, one day they just steal a pack of gum, but because the total shit that they stole was over a certain amount, then they get arrested for all that shit plus that piece of gum. That's basically how it works. So that is pretty interesting. Someone is saying that on YouTube after the mic dropped, it said policy violations. Stream unavailable, policy violation 666. That was topical. I don't know about the language. So once the mic dropped and I had my last word, YouTube kind of shut it down. I'm really hoping that my fan club was the one that reported it, because then that comes down as harassment too. Like, they don't seem to understand it, but that's fine. I'm not here to, you know, discredit people, making people aware. I've been trying to make people aware of these signal chats for years. I've shared them in my Telegram, on X. I have been encouraging people to get in there and watch, because I was hoping, yes, I know they can be charged with a felony. I was hoping, I mean, the fact that they just brought my sister again is pretty interesting, knowing that they've been put on legal notice. So that's fascinating. But I find it quite, intriguing how so many people decided that these are legitimate, but all these years that I've been encouraging people to pressure them because I wanted them to get to the point where they're asking for IDs so we can collect civilians because we have federal employees, former federal employees, right? But um, I wanted to make sure that we can get all of the civilians. And why do I say the civilians? Because a lot of them are foreigners, right? We have French guys, I've showed you that before, training people. We have people from Serbia training them. We have that guy who has Optor training fucking the DC division down in Virginia. And he was actually responsible for the overthrow of the government to back in the day. We've got Ukrainian assets. I mean, it's just pretty insane. But it's all getting to that point of target. So yeah, so let me show you something really old. And that way you guys can enjoy this slideshow. This is federal workers against Doge, just so you see it. So let me get into it. So we have the first slide. This is something that hasn't happened yet. This kind of fell dud. So they had an agenda. This is the type of work we do. We watch these people do all these things. These are the ones that, influencers and operators and clickbaiters are not going to find. This is how they start them. I've walked you through calls before about this, why they're there. Trump derangement syndrome, I guess. They discuss it, the team, loose group with the team. They're just showing. And as you can see, it's through Leading Change Network. The stuff that we're seeing in Minnesota is pretty much the Horizons Project and a little bit of momentum thrown in. That was Kamala Harris's predecessor to Rise Up that she did with Jussie Smollett back in the day. So this is how it is. See how everyone has to be involved in the decision. We are all the leaders, or I am the leaders. This is how teams go wrong, right? So this is them, obviously they're talking while they're showing this, right? I'm just showing you all the stuff that they're putting out there. Remember, I've showed you how they recruit your children in high school and middle school and have them sacrifice things, right? And these are all color revolutions that I told you kicked off in 2015. But, I digress. What do I know, right? All these other experts that come out of nowhere do. Because I'm not coming out of nowhere. They did. Here are some, exercises that we did together back then. The snowflake model. You can't even make this shit up. Right? I mean, sometimes the comedy writes itself. Marshall Gans, Harvard Kennedy School. Now, we've talked about Harvard Kennedy School and also that the university in Colorado that housed Chenoweth to do most of her work. So here he is talking about how you can change the world with civil disobedience. This is how big their networks are. Just for people to understand what you're up against. It's not a fucking signal chat in Minnesota that's unvetted. This is a very well organized machine. So over here, it's interesting. This photo has Jake in it. Jake is an interesting fellow right there himself. I mean, he comes from the Obama organization and, when he sees that Erica Chenoweth's or Maria J. Stefan's information is, when they're to Al Sharpton, okay, he'll dive into Gantz. Now, one thing that a team member of mine brought up is we didn't see him part of the Minnesota stuff, though. But this is an organization that Jake, who worked for Obama organization has put together. And these are what these people do on a daily basis. The FBI is always watching. And if they're not, they're watching my phone or Angela's or whatever. We just try to make sure that we give them as much access as possible. Obviously, I'm hoping that they are respecting my privacy too. I mean, there's nothing to hide, but I feel really gutted that the people have been duped like this to believe that this is some major expose when it's not. And for all of you that have been my listeners, and we've been working together to aid our ability to self-govern, know this. Yeah. No. There's a lot of people that people have been showcasing, like that tranny. Well, he's not a tranny. He's like straight, but cross dresses, making it a fucking clown show, not realizing they're a plant to make it stupid. Because I know a lot of people are bigoted towards stuff like that. I mean, can you not see, like, when Jake Lang went to burn the Quran, that it was Cam Higby that was promoting that shit and saying that he's, he got hurt and everything. And it's like, he didn't go there to, and why are you going to be pro ICE? Like, what the fuck does that mean? It's like that shit show of let's go to the border and tell the cartels to not bring anyone in. Why? So, Texas had to send more people to Eagle Pass so that DHS has to send more bodies that way to protect your stupid ass going. Why are these people going in there? You're not reporting responsibly. You're sitting there instigating to get a response so you can get clicks. It's ridiculous. And then they paint us into exactly what other people see. You don't have much difference with the people on the other side of Trump derangement syndrome. You really don't. You can all agree on one thing. We need structure, we need national security, and we need transparency. And if there's fraud, both sides wants to know about it. But we're not talking about the fraud. We're talking about Muslims. We're talking about Somalis. We're talking about, ICE. We're talking about this. This is the problem that we have. And nobody out there is voicing that. They're all polarizing you. And all I can do is sit here and do what is right. Which takes me to the end of today's show. Tomorrow there will be another one, mostly a tribute. I don't know if I should show that video or not, but if I can show that video, can you put it there? I wanted to talk a second about last week. I don't want to talk about the case yet. That could be at another time. But I want to speak to you guys about my friend Scotty, who passed away. Now, those that were with me know how much this hearing his death bothered me. I was in the car with Amber, Bayou Blonde, going to the courthouse when I received calls and message. And throughout the day, even till now, I would get teary-eyed because it was unexpected, because his birthday was the next day. And, obviously not a lot of people would understand. And I don't care if I'm crying. What are you going to do? Mock me for it? But Scotty, like so many, was someone who served his country very proudly. But unlike many, he never really stopped serving. He just changed the terrain. He continued through media, through discernment, through the slow and often thankless work of stitching together fragments of news, of thought, trying to make sense of the confusion that everyone is moving through right now. He wasn't chasing attention. He wasn't trying to build a following. He didn't want to belong to networks or machines that made truth for momentum. Like, he stood outside of that. There are very few people. And what he stood on was love. And that wasn't an aesthetic or a performance for him. It wasn't something he said when it was easy, right? Love was the premise. Love was the discipline. Love was the cost he willingly bore. We spoke about that more than once, about how difficult it is to hold that line as individuals, because I struggle with it. I mean, we all do, right? About the weight we carry because the cord that binds us to one another is there, right? That's it's heavy. And about how tempting it is to decide who deserves compassion and who doesn't, and how corrosive that temptation becomes if you let it win. At one point in my own life, I thought that I might enjoy being proven right, serving crow, so to speak, about how broken everything feels. I already know a lot of people keep saying, damn, that bitch is always right. But I can't find joy in that anymore. Somewhere along the way, I arrived close to the place where Scotty was already standing. He was already there. And I would communicate to him my frustrations and say, like, how do you work on this? Because you never ask advice from people who are failing, right? Or from people who don't have anything to contribute. You seek advice and information from people that you wish you were more like them. I actually wished I was more like him too, because I was so angry. And that understanding that love is really the answer of how to articulate it. Not the sentimental answer, not the convenient answer, but the only answer that doesn't hollow you from the outside. That was it. Even when it was hard to distribute that love, right? Even when we believe someone isn't worthy, everyone is worthy of compassion. That doesn't mean excusing harm, but it means refusing to become it. And Scotty actually understood that, and he lived it. So when I found out about his loss, it devastated me because it felt like he was in this foxhole with me, not fighting the information wars and putting out news, but more spiritual. Because we were fighting on the same premise. It's just that he was already on that platform, and I'm like, I want to get on it, but I want to knock some teeth out too. I'm not ready. But he was always love over outrage, truth over applause, service without the need to be seen. And he wasn't doing it for clicks or recognition. He was doing it because he believed it mattered, and it freaking did. I know some of what he and his family had endured, right, in the past or whatever, the strain, circumstances, everything, the quiet battles that, not a lot of people would know. And it's just simple things like, I don't know, not my story to tell. But when I first heard the news, the thought that came to me almost against my will was that he was lucky. I think I even said that to Amber, that he's lucky. Lucky in the sense that his watch was over. That meant that he had completed what needed to be done and came here to do. And then the weight of it actually arrived, because the very next thought was Shailene, right? His wife. He was a rock. He was her steadiness in many ways that he was for other people, even for me. He grounded me. He reminded me what this was actually about when everything felt like noise. Losing someone like that, like just that little part that you could go tap into, actually disorients you. It leaves like a silence where there was like this strength. Because for me, it was more like he was like more shrinking me. I was shrinking myself through him. But I need to say something very carefully here, because words around loss actually matter. I have never lost a husband in the way others have, or in the way Shailene has. I haven't experienced that particular finality, the sudden physical absence of someone taken from this world, per se. But I have lived with another kind of mourning. I grieved the partner I believe existed. I mourned the version of someone I loved, trusted, and built meaning around, the person I thought I knew. Now, that kind of grief never resolves cleanly. It doesn't obey timelines. You're grieving something that felt entirely real, even if it was never fully what you believed it to be, like a bond, a future, a shared understanding you invested your heart into. And that loss stays with you because it's not only about what was taken, but about what never truly lived in the way you hoped. So when I find myself crying over who I thought I loved, who I thought stood beside me, I try to imagine what it must be like when that love was not imagined, when it was like tangible, present, lived every day, and suddenly gone. When the person you leaned on, shared your life with, prayed beside is taken from you entirely. Like, I can't fathom that. I truly can't. And that's why my thoughts go immediately to the wives, like to Shailene, to Boone Cutler's wife, to the people who lived with these men, not as ideas, but as presence. The ones who shared the quiet moments no one else saw. The ones who were inspired not by words on a screen, but by hands that steadied them, voices that calmed them, lives that showed up every day. If someone could guide you, help you, or light a fire in your heart from afar, imagine what they were doing for the person who walked beside them in real life. Like, imagine the depth of the loss. Imagine the silence it leaves behind. And, that's where my heart rests. That's where compassion rests. I mean, I can't continue at the same speed right now. I'm still not okay, and I won't pretend to be. Grief doesn't move on command, and love doesn't disappear just because someone's gone. So I'm going to pause here, and tomorrow we will have a tribute that I'm going to show you as a snippet now, that was put together by people who truly benefited from his work, from his spirit, and the quiet integrity with which he lived. So on that note, have a great evening.
Scotty, brother in the fight, your voice echoes through the endless night. A heart of gold, taken too soon, but your fire burns under the moon. In the trenches of the digital war, where shadows try to claim the day, Scotty stood unyielding, a beacon cutting through the fray. Veteran strong with scars unseen, he turned the news to symphonies, rumble streams of truth and rhythm, setting captive spirits free. From midnight edits to dawn's first light, he wove the stories we all crave. A patriot's cry in every frame, reminding us we're not enslaved. His laughter rang like thunder's call, his wisdom like a guiding star. But now the silence breaks our hearts. Oh, Scotty, how we miss you so far. Just hours before your 47th year, the heavens called you home too soon. A heart attack stole our warrior dear, leaving us beneath this mournful moon. We weep for Shailene, your loving wife, your children in the deepest pain, your sister, cousin, family strive, yet in our grief your love remains.
Where we go one, we go all. Scotty's light will never, never fall. Through the storms we face together, your spirit holds us now and forever.
with music in his veins, the doors and anthems fueling fire, compilations like history's chains, breaking lies with pure desire. A Christian soul unbowed, unbroken, planting seeds of hope and grace, teaching kindness in words unspoken, lighting up the darkest space. From Q drops to the great awakening, he pulled us from the edge of despair. His videos, our daily reckoning, a documentary beyond compare. Devastated, we clutch the memories of a man who lived with fearless might. His positivity, our cherished treasuries, turning wrong into what's right. Oh, we go one, we go all. Scotty's light will never, never fall. Through the storms we face together, your spirit holds us now and forever. R.I.P. oh faithful son, digital soldier, battle won. In God's embrace, you're free from strife, but your legacy ignites our life. Heartbroken tears we shed tonight for the man who brought us into light. Scotty Martin, our guiding flame, will carry on in Jesus' name. Oh, Scotty, you were the best of us, a voice that thundered, a heart so true. Millions awakened by your trust in truth and love. We followed you. No more pain, no more the fight. You're with the Lord in endless day. But down here in the dead of night, we honor you in every way. Your cousin's words, your family's ache, the community's shattered cry. We'll hold the line for your sweet sake until we meet beyond the sky.
Godspeed, dear brother, rest in peace. Your films play on, your light won't cease.
A husband tender, father proud, you built a home of warmth and care. Now heaven's gates have opened loud to welcome you with trumpets blare. We scroll through highlights, tears in eyes, reliving moments you bestowed. Your spark of joy that never dies along this long and winding road. From patriots young to elders wise, you united us in one grand quest. Against the veil of hidden lies, Scotty, you gave your very best. Though grief weighs heavy on our chest, your eternal song brings us rest. Where we go on, we go all. Scotty's light will never, never fall. Well, we go on, we go all. Scotty's light will never, never fall. Through the storms we face together, your spirit holds us now and forever. R.I.P. oh faithful son, digital soldier, battle won. In God's embrace, you're free from strife, but your legacy ignites our life. Heartbroken tears we shed tonight for the man who brought us into life. Scotty Martin, our guiding flame, will carry on in Jesus' name. Oh, we'll carry on forever in your name.
Rest easy, Scotty, in paradise above. Your truth endures, wrapped in endless love. We'll meet again where the faithful roam. God bless you, brother. Welcome home. In every heartbeat, every prayer we send, your story lives on. This is not the end.